I think you need to say clearly what happened.
As far as what?
You and I decided we were going to take our space, and what happened?
Yeah, and then I got into an entanglement with August.
So entanglement is, she just doesn't want to use the word cheating because, like what we talk about all the time on this channel, she can't afford to make herself seem like she's in a bad light. Women hold on to their virtue no matter what. They can't, even if she is the biggest slut, she can't tell you that. She has to let you think that she's not like every other woman out there. But she is.
Now, in the process of that relationship, I definitely realized that you can't find happiness outside of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily enough...
You guys catch that? Can't find happiness outside of yourself. Okay, I got that. I got that part, right? I mean, I talk about mental point of origin all the time. It's not... Remember, mental point of origin is not so much about happiness. It's about decision making. I know people are going to start talking about that. Well, what about that? You can't find happiness. That's like, that right there is straight out of the book of Oprah. You have to find happiness yourself. You have to be... And really, when I hear stuff like this, it still sounds like rationalization. It still sounds like I wanted to go do these things because I thought they would make me happy. And now I'm paying the price for them. Had I not been caught, maybe I wouldn't even be having this conversation. But that is exactly one of those social conventions that I talk about that is already in place and already established to help women rationalize decisions and do things that they wanted to do anyways.
Right, sure, Will was doing his thing. Jada's free to do her thing, right? Whether you married or not, if you're on a break and separated, hey, you do whatever you want to. The issue was, it was a guy that was cool with Will, cool with both of them. He should have been off limits. So if you want to go deal with this dude, deal with that dude, deal with them. Don't deal with a guy that I'm cool with, that we like part of the family almost, that's friends with me or cool with me. And that was the issue. The problem is, that's why she did it. In her head, she was getting some type of revenge on Will. As she stated in the video, she hadn't been happy in so long. Now, she don't want to say what all this unhappiness was. It could be anything, right? Probably Will been cheating or doing whatever, who knows, right? I don't know, I don't even want to speculate. But for whatever reason, she felt unhappy in this relationship for a very long time. So in her head, spiteful as women, vindictive as they is, this is what they do. They seek out to sleep with somebody that's gonna cause pain to you. Even if you don't know about it, it just makes her feel good.
Cheating is wrong on both ends. Period. But when she sleep with the homie, when the homie's in your face, smiling with you, when you're trying to heal your homie's mental clarity, the things that he's going through, when you're trying to heal him and make sure he's good, and he goes to dig your wife's guts out. She knew what she was doing. She said for 4 years they had a great relationship, a great friendship. She knew what she was doing. Whether this is staged or whatnot, we can all gain some insight on this situation. You can read her body language. You can read Will's body language. He said, oh, I'm gonna get you back. And she said, oh, you already got me back. Not really. I did my dirt. I had my little side piece, but I didn't go as close as you. So when Will laughed and said, nah, I'm gonna get you back. His last words, when he did the sarcastic way, like, I'm not playing. What I thought was, in my head was, yeah, all your friends that wanted me, that I turned down, never told you about, yeah, they finna get dug out.
Sure, that's really easy to say. Can you imagine being in a difficult place with your wife and she's telling everybody else, well, we've basically broken up. But you might not know it, but apparently she felt that way. And instead of working through things with your husband during this difficult time, you just decided to step out on him. Brilliant. Jada said her relationship with August was initially about helping him, as he'd been very sick at the time. It all started with him just needing some help, me wanting to help his health, his mental state, she explained to her husband. Why? Why would you take up the mantle? Why would you take up the task of helping some other dude, especially when you're in a marriage? What is the point of that? This is why a lot of times, if you're in a relationship, it is not good to have friends of the opposite sex unless you're a group friends, because you never quite know what can happen. I read stories all the time where things happen inappropriately between couples, husbands and wives and that kind of stuff.
And I said, what bothered me the most that no one's talking about is that August Alsina was introduced to her by her son, her biological son. And I said, this is a huge double standard. This is a huge revelation. Because if we compared it and said, well, let's just put the shoe on the other foot and say, what if Willow Smith, who was shaking her hair back and forth, and any one of these little Caitlins or Kellys or anybody that comes from her neighborhood, or let's say it's some 22-year-old R&B singer that hangs out with Willow Smith, if Willow Smith brought a young woman to daddy, and we found out Will Smith was banging around Willow Smith's friend, we wouldn't look at Will the same way we're looking at Jada today. And that's important to the story. No one's talking about that. If Willow Smith was bringing young, fresh, piping hot peace leave to Will Smith, the world would crumble right now. All right, people would be going insane. They would be calling Will a pedo. They would be calling him a young girl. They would throw him under the bus.
But when we talk about unbreakable, who ends up breaking these marriages? Who ends up breaking these families? Is it the men? No, you heard all the books about Stella getting her groove back and this and that, but when it comes right down to it, 80% of divorces in the black community are filed by black women. When you heard Will Smith tell Jada Pinkett Smith, I told you in the first year of our marriage, I could love you through anything. She said, I didn't believe it. And she proceeded to test it. So much so that she went and preyed upon a young drug addicted boy, her son's age. Now, let's just be real. If this story had been the other way around, Will Smith was preying on one of Willow's drug addicted friends, they would be burning Will Smith in effigy.
It was something that Jada said in the video. She literally said that she has an addiction to codependency, meaning that she has an addiction to broken men. See, her ex-boyfriend, Tupac, was a neurotic person. And then she turns around and runs into somebody like August Alsina, and it fed that need without her even knowing it. See, Tupac was extremely neurotic. He was all over the place. One day he'll be talking about women keeping their head up and how much he loves black women, and then the next record he'll put out, it'll have something to do with him calling women bees and this and that, and how, blah, 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 blah. And then the same thing about men. He'll, do his, I love black people, we need to stand up against white supremacy. And then the next record he comes out with, he's dissing literally every popular rapper out there.